The World Habitat Day 2015 campaign aims to recognize the challenges and issues around public spaces. The streets and public spaces have often been overlooked and undervalued, but are increasingly being considered the backbone of cities. Public spaces are places which are accessible and enjoyable by all without a profit motive and take on various partial forms, including parks, streets, sidewalks, markets, and playgrounds.
Using of public spaces, the extremely poor cannot go there because of the conditions they have. So it's something that we still need to address. And then the creation of the public spaces itself, the funding of the creation. I mean, we're talking about the new malls that are coming out. It takes a lot of money to come up with such venture. So even the public parks, the bus stops, the marketplaces, and even the streets, and there are public spaces that we're talking about. So it takes a lot of money to bring up all these facilities to come up. Even the infrastructures, too. It takes a lot of money to come up with it so that the public spaces can be useful for both rich and the poor. So we need funding before we can do all these things. In advanced societies, addressing the public spaces this era, you will find that on streets, there are areas that you have waters being prepared and seats for people to sit. That is both the poor and the rich must be able to sit after getting exhausted. But we are not yet there in this country, in Lagos.
Freedom Park, Lagos, built from the ruins of Her Majesty's Broad Street Prison on the Lagos Island.
I remember from youth.
The man at the center of this work is Theo Lawson, an architect whose efforts today has helped to preserve the cultural heritage of Lagos and indeed Nigeria.
All the buildings have been pulled down in the 70s, so armed with the old plan of the prison, I tried to tell a symbolic story of what was there before, using footprints of the old buildings to essentially put you in a sense of history, give you a sense of history. So where we placed the stage was where the gallows used to be. So there's a symbolic connection between the gallows and the stage. The records office became our museum. The food court, our food court was where the old kitchen used to be. And we've expressed different aspects of the prison in different ways without losing the essence of a park. So the park and the greenness of the space comes through strongly.
The works done to transform an old prison to a recreation center is one effort that has been praised. Meanwhile, it has also started another discussion on how the characters of the urban centers in the country have been changing. Rural-urban migration is on the increase as poverty has led to massive movement from the rural areas to the urban centers.
The public spaces cannot be enough because the population keeps increasing every day. You say that people comes into Lagos every day, but hardly do you find people living in Lagos. So the population keeps on increasing. The initial estimation is that by 2015, maybe Lagos State will be about 12 million. But as at now, although it's confirmed, the population seems to be at about 23 million. So the public spaces cannot be enough for this population.
Nigeria is one of the rapidly growing countries in the world. The problems and challenges posed by this rapid urban growth in Nigeria are immense. More easily observable and perhaps very frightening are the general human and environmental poverty, the declining quality of life, and the underutilized as well as the untapped wealth of human resources. Even as the United Nations focus is on the importance of public spaces, many Nigerians believe the government's efforts at providing appropriate shelter for all is most important.
That's the mistake that we make.
Architect Ezekiel Inya Etok is an advocate for social housing in Nigeria. He is campaigning for more commitment by the new government to provide affordable housing in the country. To him, housing must be government's social responsibility.
When you come into housing, all you need in housing is a man who understands the dynamics of housing delivery. Number one, you give what you call systems and structures to the industry. Number two, you come and in the past administration, we had the NMRC, Nigeria Mortgage Refinance Company. Mortgage is one of the most important things. Through the NMRC, they started the process of sanitizing, and having common underwriting standards for the housing subsector. This was absolutely necessary. Now, a minister that comes to sit over that ministry, number one, will give direction to the artisans. Very important. He will be able to coordinate them into a way they are registered, not just registered, in a way that they can undergo trainings because they have been registered. And in that process, you spend nothing, you can even make something out of it. Apart from that, he will now come to look at the informal sector, where a lot of Nigerians belong. Because when you talk of the civil service and all these things, we have less than 15%, 20%. But the other 80% of Nigerians are not, they are building houses, they are buying luxury cars, they are going to clubs and spending a lot of money. So it's just a matter of you as a minister giving structure to that sector. And then you have such an amazing, volume of people. Based on that structure, you can now work out on the basis of pensions, work out a delivery mechanism. When people tell you that, the housing is a private sector business, it is a private sector business running on government, enablement.
Housing and associated facilities such as water, electricity, waste disposal are grossly inadequate. Millions live in substandard environments called slums, plagued by squalor and grossly inadequate social amenities such as a shortage of schools, poor health facilities, and lack of opportunities for recreation, among others. Juvenile delinquencies and crime have become endemic in urban areas as a result of the gradual decline of traditional social values and the breakdown of family cohesiveness and community spirit. Moreover, the capacity of law enforcement institutions to prevent crime is increasingly hampered by technological and resource limitations.
The economy of Nigeria today, more than any other thing, needs the bottom to be vibrant. Nothing gives you a more vibrant bottom. When you say bottom, we're talking of the lower segment, the D segment of the economy. Nothing gives you a wider spread than housing. When you construct roads, the bitumen, the caterpillars, the engineers, they are top. In a road construction, less than 15% of the budget goes to the D segment of the population, the poor, okay? But in housing construction, it's the reverse. 80% goes to the poor, okay? Because the poor starts by clearing the land. He's the one to mold the blocks. He's the one to do the mason. He's the one to do the carpentry, the electrician, the plumber, the iron mongers. All these people, even the carriers, even the bankers, even the suppliers of the wood, suppliers of the cement, all these people are all the people that are at the bottom segment of the population. So if I invested 2 billion to build an estate, out of the 2 billion, a minimum of 1.8 billion is going into the hands of the little people. Imagine what effect that has on the economy. So the wisest way for Mr. President to touch the lives of this generality of people that voted for him is to go into agriculture and housing. And I will even put housing before agriculture.